So, what if I told you that binge watching a sitcom in another language could actually be better for you than drilling flashcards? Yeah, it sounds a little too good to be true, right? But it turns out, comedy might be one of the most powerful learning hacks that you're probably not even using. Let's dive in.
Okay, let's start with a question that I think we can all relate to. Think about it. You can probably recall some ridiculous punchline from a movie you saw a decade ago, clear as day. But that list of vocabulary you crammed just last week? Poof, gone. Why does that happen? Well, it's not a flaw in your memory. It's actually a feature of how our brains are wired.
All right, so let's break down exactly why jokes stick in our heads like this. It really all comes down to the huge difference between how our brain processes something we have to do versus something we actually want to do.
On one side, you've got that forced study brain. You know the feeling. You're staring at a textbook, your eyes are glazing over, it's a total mental chore. So you skim, and the information just passes right through without leaving a mark. But then on the other side, something totally different happens with funny content. You're not studying anymore, you're just enjoying a story. Your brain lights up, you're paying full attention, and the language just becomes part of the fun. So, what is actually going on inside your head when you have a good laugh? It's not just a feeling, you know? It's a really powerful neurochemical event. Let's take a peek at the science behind it.
When you genuinely laugh at something, your brain releases this whole cocktail of chemicals, and that includes dopamine, the famous feel-good neurotransmitter. This creates this huge emotional spike, basically lighting up your brain's reward circuits like a Christmas treat.
And here is the really crucial part. Your brain doesn't really care what kind of emotion it is when it comes to memory. It could be joy, surprise, even a little bit of shock. Any strong emotional event gets flagged as important, like, hey, pay attention, this is something we need to record and save for later. Think of it like putting a big, bright, sticky note on a file. That emotional spike from the joke essentially tells your brain, hey, this one mattered, don't you dare archive it. And this isn't something you do consciously. It's this ancient survival mechanism, hijacking your memory system for whatever it decides is important. This brings us to a really cool concept, emotional glue. That feeling of amusement you get from a great joke, or even that cringe you feel when a character does something super embarrassing, that feeling acts like a powerful adhesive. It literally binds the new vocabulary and phrases directly to the memory of that strong emotion.
So if humor is the glue, then stories are the supercharger. They take this whole principle of emotional connection and they just amplify it, making the language even stickier. See, instead of memorizing isolated words off a list, a story connects those words to actions, to characters we start to care about, and to consequences. You see a funny character trip, or tell a bad lie, or panic, and the language they use to describe it sticks, because now it's tied to a vivid picture in your head.
What stories really add is context. All of a sudden, words aren't just words anymore. They're tied to people and memorable scenes. And stories are super clever at hiding repetition. Just think about a character's catchphrase or a running gag in a show. You're getting that crucial review over and over without it ever feeling like work.
And there's another huge psychological benefit here. Enjoyment just lowers our mental resistance. When we're bored, our brain is just looking for the exit. It wants to get through it and quit. But when we're amused, we want to slow down, we want to stay in that world, which means more time and more natural exposure to the language.
And ultimately, it really just comes down to this. The reason this method works so well isn't some secret magic trick. It's simply that fun leads to consistency. The more time you spend enjoying the language, the more exposure you get, and that is the real engine of fluency.
Okay, so the science is pretty clear, but how do you actually put this into practice? Let's build your practical toolkit for learning while you're laughing.
All right, your action plan is really simple. First, you've got to shift your mindset. Stop asking, is this the right level for me? And start asking, am I genuinely interested in this? Chase engagement, not difficulty. Second, choose your content wisely. Find a show, a comic book, whatever, where you actually care about the characters and what happens next. And finally, be an active participant. Don't just watch it. Reread your favorite funny scenes and try retelling the joke out loud. That's what really locks the language in.
And please remember this one core principle. Don't let your ego pick your learning material. A slightly easier book that you absolutely love is going to teach you infinitely more than some hard book you hate slogging through. Always, always choose fun. It's just a more effective teacher. So, the big takeaway here is this.
For years, we've all been told that learning a language is about discipline and just grinding it out. But what if that's only half the story? What if the real secret isn't about studying harder at all, but about finding a way to enjoy it more?